She's an award-winning YouTuber and best-selling author obsessed with helping you go after the life you want.
I like it.
Join her as she seeks out the stories and strategies
Give me every little detail.
of extraordinary people who found success.
I'm going to get emotional. Oh my God.
Welcome to Detail Therapy with Amy Landino.
Hey there, welcome to Detail Therapy. In this episode, it's just you and me. And today I want to talk to you about my motivational morning routine. I'm going to tell you all the things I do, every detail I can come up with to let you know what my motivational morning looks like so that I stay productive at the highest level throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. It's all about foundations, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. I like to get into a lot of details, but before we can dive into those, just in case you're new to the show, my name is Amy Landino, and I will be your host. I'm a YouTube creator, professional speaker, best-selling author, and entrepreneur. I'm here to help you go after the life you want. You can find out more details about me by going to youtube.com/AMYTV. Before we get started, I have just been reading so many amazing reviews from people who are listening to this show, and it just makes this so real to me, and I love that. And I want to give another shout out today to Mary Reagan. Mary said, totally obsessed with Amy. Detail Therapy is the podcast I have always wanted. My Tuesdays are brighter and more inspiring because of Amy Landino and her ability to showcase the lives of some of the most fantastic people from all different fields and backgrounds. I work in an office, and being able to tune into Detail Therapy brings me a great sense of motivation to go after the life I want. It helps me focus on my goals and learn from some of the best. Thank you, Amy. You really are amazing. Mary, oh my God, I'm going to already start crying. Like, this is so nice. I just, even hearing something like a small detail, like I work in an office and I listen to the show, that just is so big to me because I can really visualize you and what you're thinking about and maybe what you're struggling with a little bit. And hopefully this is a little bit of a reprieve for you while you're going after the life you want, also hardworking wherever you are. And thank you so much for that review, Mary. If you maybe want to drop me a line, let me know what you think of this show. I know you can go to iTunes and leave a review. I always say go leave a review wherever you want, but I don't think you can actually do it in more than one place. I don't know. It's kind of funny how it just is that way. So if you happen to listen on a podcast platform and you can't leave a review there and Apple is not your thing, that's okay too. I am reading tweets, hashtag Detail Therapy or at Details Podcast. You can always hit me up on Instagram. I really look for that feedback everywhere. So thank you so much for taking the time if you do share it with me. Remember, there's a lot to get into today, so you're going to want to head over to the show notes on the website detailspodcast.com. That's where you'll find everything, and we're going to try to link to as much as possible that I talk about because, man, I've got specifics here, so I don't want you to miss a thing. Let's get into my motivational morning routine. So what I'm going to run through is a typical work day for me. To set this up for anyone who is not familiar, I work for myself, and for the most part, I work from home. I do a lot of travel in my business. I also have an office where my employees work at my video production company, Aftermark. That is not a space I work out of, as I am running a second business here at Vlogboss HQ. But to give you an idea, I am home a lot of the time, so I have a little bit more flexibility with my routine and when I do it. But that is the life I've designed. That's the life I want. And so I reverse engineer where I need to be, when I need to be there, but I have a lot of control over that. So if you're somebody that maybe you work out of an office, or maybe you have to clock in a 9-to-5 situation, and you're trying to figure out how to optimize your day a little bit better, just think about what hours you have control over and what you can do to make them a little bit better for you, make you feel better, make you develop your own self. It's very easy to roll out of bed every day and just go to the thing that somebody's expecting you to be at, but that means somebody else is running your life and you're going after their life that they want. And maybe you're going to do that in some ways, but it should not be the epicenter of everything. So just wanted to kind of give you some context there. I go to sleep. Let's start there. Morning routines start with what time you go to bed, don't they? I tend to be in bed between 9 and 10. I'm really sad if it's after 10 because I know I need some time to fall asleep. So I try to get in bed so I'm asleep by 10 because I want to wake up at 5 a.m. Lately, actually, it's been kind of a crazy week for me. When I'm recording this, I'm getting ready to leave for Saudi Arabia. And so there's a lot of stuff I got to get done. So I've actually kind of been waking up a bit earlier than that, surprisingly around 4:30. Surprisingly, because my dog tends to wake me up and I'm like, okay, fine. I guess I'm up then. But I usually shoot for 5 a.m., my typical time. And it's funny because, as I said, I have complete control over my day. I have complete control over my schedule. And sometimes I'm like, 5 a.m. is still not early enough. But I'm trying not to let that get to me too much because that sounds ridiculous if you really say it out loud, which I just did. So I'm up at 5. The first thing that I do is literally feet on ground, walk to master bathroom and wash my face. I cannot present myself in any way, not even to another dark room with my journals and my other things, if my face is not ready to go to face the world. If I have like the eye crusties and my skin is pulling because it's a little bit dry, because it's been a while since I moisturized it, I cannot do anything. I feel completely out of place. So the first thing I have to do is get ready to lead with my skin. My skincare routine is not terribly lengthy, but I am a steps person. I do a couple of things. In the morning, though, it sort of depends on how I'm feeling, how dry my skin is feeling. I may or may not cleanse because I always cleanse at night, but sometimes you just need water in the morning. Sometimes you don't need to over cleanse. And depending on the skin type that you have or depending on any struggles you're having with skin, you may or may not do the same. But I will cleanse just sort of depending on how it's feeling. If it's feeling pretty healthy, I'll go ahead and wash it. And then I will use a spray toner. The cleanser and toner that I am using is by a company called Fresh. I've been loving it. It's very simple, not very, no chemicals, nothing crazy. I'm trying to look at that a lot differently because I've had some dermatitis issues in the last couple of years. And lately my skin has been so much better since I switched to this company. So I'm very excited about that. Sometimes if I feel like I need a little bit of a brightness jump, I will use my Dr. Dennis Gross vitamin C serum, which will add a little pinkness to the skin. That's how I know it's working. And that's great for some clarity and really just energizing the face. But usually I'll just skip that and I'll go straight to my eye cream, pop my eye cream on and take my vitamins and then brush my teeth. All of this is happening while the eye cream is setting. I like to at least let my eye cream set for 2 minutes, which my toothbrush, my little quip, runs for 2 minutes. So I know exactly how long my eye cream is setting. I like for it to set before I rub any other moisturizers on my face because that one really needs to get in there first to make a big difference for my under eyes, and then the moisturizer can go on right after that. So once I've taken my vitamins and then brushed my teeth, my eye cream has set, I pop on my moisturizer and good to go there. I then put on a second layer of moisturizer, which is my sunscreen. Yes, sunscreen at 5 a.m. because you just don't know when the sun's going to come up or when that computer screen's going to be glaring at your face. Doesn't matter what time in the morning it is. The light on your face is going to age you, and that is not a way to start the day, if you ask me. Throughout this time, I have been taking my vitamins with just my hydro flask of water that I keep by my bedside. After I've done my skincare routine and I'm leaving the room now, I'm going into the kitchen and I'm prepping my lemon water. I will squeeze one entire lemon into about a 16-ounce glass of cold water, and that's how I start my hydration for the day. I don't like to do warm water. There's just something about a cold glass of water. I don't do cold showers or anything like that. So I feel like this is my opportunity to have that little chill that everyone says is great for the body first thing in the morning. And that lemon really helps to wake me up so I don't have to drink coffee first thing. If you lead with coffee, it's very easy to forget to drink water. You'll just keep drinking coffee. Trust me. I know. So I start with that lemon water and I refuse to let myself have any coffee until at least that 16 ounces of water is down. I will start the coffee maker maybe a little bit later in the morning because I don't want to wake up Lucy yet, and I don't want to wake up my husband with the smell of coffee. So that's another perk of it too. I don't want to be brewing coffee when everybody else is asleep. I then go into my office, I pop on my little lamp and I do some meditation, 10 minutes with the app Headspace. And I did a video on this recently where I did 30 days straight of this, and it was really great. I felt myself growing in this practice in a big way. And as sort of a treat for completing 10 days in a row, I bought myself a meditation pillow, which is essentially a round cushion that is great for just keeping your posture right when you're sitting. It's tough to meditate if you're in pain. And if you're sitting on the floor and that's not really a thing, it's not good. If you're sitting in a chair and it doesn't really feel good to you, I don't like to sit in a chair chair. I want to sit on a floor, but I also don't want my back to be curling or feeling weird. And then I'm thinking about that instead of trying to clear my mind. I have noticed a tremendous difference in being able to focus on what I'm trying to do when I'm meditating because of that pillow. So I highly recommend that. After I'm done meditating for 10 minutes, I go and wake up my dog. No matter whether she's ready or not, I need to get her up because if she starts to wake up when it's not convenient for me, that's annoying. But if I wake her up out of a dead sleep and take her outside to go to the bathroom and then bring her in my office so she can go back to sleep, it's much easier for me to move on to the next piece, which is my morning pages. Right after meditation and Lucy's all settled and ready to hang with me for the rest of my morning routine, I will do 3 pages of just brain dumping. This is talked about in the book Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. She talks about morning pages as an opportunity to just get the stuff out of your head. Maybe some good stuff happens, but it's certainly great for me as a stress reliever of anything that's lingering in my mind. Maybe something bothered me when I woke up. Maybe something was bothering me when I went to sleep. Just writing it down, I have found has helped me be able to approach the rest of the day as effectively as possible because there aren't lingering things happening in my brain. As soon as I'm done with morning pages, I move into my second journal, which is my 5-minute journal. I was gifted a 5-minute journal by somebody in the community, but I'm a huge fan of this brand. It's a great way to just very easily fill in the blanks on some gratefulness things. And having a gratefulness moment in your day is so important. And I will let it fall off all the time if it's not something that easily prompts me. It's very easy to say, oh, just start a gratefulness journal. You know, if you don't get used to it, you just don't write in it. And then you forget to have those mindful moments where you're appreciative. So I love my 5-minute journal. It's just a couple of quick prompts of what I'm grateful for and what I'd like to see myself accomplish that day. And it's just a nice extra boost that's more focused than the morning pages. Then I move on to my third journal. And this one is also really boring, but in a different way. So every single page of this journal, for the most part, unless I add a goal, every single page has the exact same words on it. I got a tip from Tony Robbins once in a book and probably a podcast and a lot of things that he's done where he talks about writing your goals every single day. So I have a list of goals that I have in my bullet journal, which is a different journal altogether. We're not going to talk about that one right now. In my bullet journal at the beginning of the year, I write out my goals. So those goals that I've defined for myself, I will rewrite every day in a very specific goal writing journal 3 times. So let's say I have 7 goals for the entire year. I will rewrite them each 3 times on the same page. And so every single page of this journal just starts to look the same. And you have 21 lines of copy. Essentially, it's very easy to forget your goals if you do not stay fresh on them and review them on a regular basis. And so instead of saying, oh, I'll review them on a regular basis, review them every day. Maybe you don't have to have a designated rewriting journal. Maybe you just want to look them over and you can have them somewhere where you can do that. But I highly recommend that you do. It keeps me focused. It makes me realize that when someone asks me to do something that day, maybe in an email or a phone call, I can look at my goals and say, that's not aligned. It's just not what I'm spending my time on. It's not what I'm focusing on. So it's easy for me to say no. You can say no in a nice way, but it's a lot easier to say no when you are clear on what your goals are. By this point in the morning, we have reached about the 1 hour mark. So I woke up at 5. I went through all of these steps and it's approaching 6 o'clock by the time I am done. Hopefully even a little bit sooner. But morning pages alone takes about 15 minutes for me just because it's not always as fluid sometimes. And then all these other journals and the meditation, that's a good half hour. And the waking up and getting out of bed and washing your face and lemon water thing definitely takes me about a half an hour because I am sluggish. So we're about at the hour mark. At this point, I will check my calendar. I want to know what I had planned for myself to do that day. And what I've done typically is I plan my weeks in advance. I know what's on my plate. Everything's just scheduled because everything just is in my world. It's a lot of different things all the time, but there are a lot of the same things I do all the time. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but typically when I look at my calendar at this time of the morning, I have scheduled something that can be hard to focus on if I don't really have some time to myself, and is great to do when it's really quiet. So that hour of the morning, 6 a.m., when things aren't really moving and shaking yet, you're not getting texts, you're not getting phone calls, and even some of the people in your house might still be sleeping. Sometimes it is for me, sometimes it's not. But I still require that quiet time for some tough things to get done. Usually for this, I am writing up video ideas. So it's kind of like blogging, but I'm outlining what a video idea would be and how I would make it come to fruition. Maybe I'm planning out a podcast interview that I'm going to do and thinking of questions that I would ask somebody. Or I could be drafting boss notes, which is my email newsletter. Some of these things that you can do quietly in the morning that require a little bit of computer work and typing, but also some brainstorming and thinking. That's what I tend to do as soon as I'm done with some of these morning routine items. And now we're starting to dabble in work a little bit and doing the things that are going to be tougher at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when it feels like things are hustling and bustling. And that's a time I'm more likely to be meeting with people or filming. And so I've really scheduled this first part of my morning to be something that I likely have to sit down quietly and focus on. Depending on whatever that is and how long it takes, and also what my husband's agenda is, I am usually his alarm clock. So 6:30 or so, I will wake up Vin and kind of get him moving. Usually I'm bringing him a cup of coffee and saying, hello, good morning. Thank you for not bothering me for the last hour and a half. Not that he would, because he's not a 5 a.m.er, which is totally fine. He's a night owl for sure. But when he wakes up, he comes to my office and we sit and chat and have coffee together before work. So we might start talking about business a little bit, but honestly, my brainwaves aren't even quite there yet. So we just really delicately start talking to each other for the day. And it's just honestly like quality time. One of the things that we realized is that there's small pockets of the day that we could be leveraging for quality time together, since we do work together and not work together and live together. And a lot of these things can get jumbled up and messy. And we actually talked about this. You heard us on the podcast. So finding these pockets of the day where we can spend quality time together so that it doesn't feel like we never see each other is really important to us. So we just love having that coffee. And then after that, we go to the gym together. So I put Lucy away and Vin and I go up to the gym on the 12th floor of our building, which is great. I love that commute in a big way because you know how I am about time and how much I love to have a lot of it. We are currently training with a trainer remotely. We used to go see him every single day, and now we just really wanted that time back in our lives, so we don't like to drive to the trainer. He assigns us workouts every single day, and we do check-ins with him via text message. We go to his gym and we will do weigh-ins. Sometimes we will go work with him, but for the most part, we are working remotely, and we're trying to do this so that we not only have a system at home, but have a system when we travel. Because it's very easy if you go to a trainer or you go to a gym at home all the time, and then when you get on a plane and go somewhere, everything falls to the wayside. But in this system, we're able to take this workout anywhere that we go. So that's what we do when we go up to the gym. We're usually doing the same workout with just whatever our customizations are. After that, it's time to get ready for the day. So I might make a little bit of breakfast for both of us before Vin heads to work, and then I'll just get showered and ready. I'm not usually doing hair and makeup unless it's a shoot day or a meetings day or something like that. It just depends on what the situation is. I try to have the majority of my days every week be leading with my skin. I don't like to have makeup on every single day. I hate the process sometimes, and other times I'm just like, you know what? No, I work too hard on my skin to not sometimes let it go all on its own. But, you know, when you leave the house, you do what you got to do. Or when you make a video, you do what you got to do. So it's nice on the days that I don't have to do hair and makeup, because I definitely get about an hour back in my life from not having to do that, which is also why, and I've talked about this in the past, batching is so important. I will batch meetings. I will batch phone calls. I will batch Skype calls. I will batch filming. I will batch photography, so that it's not like, oh, I have to get ready every day because there's something happening that I have to be ready for. There can be days that I've defined as low makeup days, which are a lot actually. And that's probably my favorite part about having complete control over my life, is that I have the ability to do that. A lot of people who work in an office, if you decide to have a low makeup day, it's like well, sorry guys, this is what I'm looking like today kind of thing. And trust me, I have those moments too. If things all worked out beautifully, this is probably about 9:30, 10 in the morning, 10 at the latest. 10 would be kind of late, but I don't really feel bad if it's like, okay, now it's time to start the day and it's 10 o'clock because of all the things I did from 5 to 10. I feel really good about where I'm at. I've taken care of myself. I've taken care of a little bit of work. I took care of my body by going to the gym. I ate a little bit of food. I got ready. And now I can do the rest of the stuff that is on plate for the day. At this point is when some things start that weren't happening before. A lot of the no-nos before 9 a.m. are no social media. I don't get on social media unless maybe I'm posting that I meditated or something, or saying good morning to my Twitter community. I'm not looking at other social media. I'm not checking anything. I don't check email. None of this comes into my world first thing in the morning because it does not matter to me, period. End of story. I don't care what happened unless some terrible tragedy emergency happened and I need to find out. I've probably seen it because I turn my focus music on with Spotify when I'm writing in my journals, or I turn on the meditation app. If there's an emergency, I'm gonna see it. But on social media and email, it is not important, and so I do not look at it before 9 a.m. I also do not listen to other people's words before 9 a.m. other than my husband. I don't turn on podcasts. I don't turn on audiobooks. I don't turn on news. I typically don't listen to the news, just some things on like Alexa briefings. But this all happens after the gym, after all that stuff, when I've had the time in the morning to center myself. So I find that really important. You know, find your version of like the focus playlist on Spotify. That's what I tend to love. Just low beats, things that are on in the background if you need it, but do not take your attention away from yourself in the morning, and just do that first thing in the morning. Don't listen to someone's podcast first thing in the morning, unless that's your thing. But I personally really enjoy just having that time to my own thoughts. The bottom line with all of this is that foundations are everything. The reason this motivates me every day is not because I have this repetition of the same thing every day. I would argue a lot of people have repetition that they hate every single day. I like a little bit of routine. I like this because when I have to leave town and I don't get to have my typical routines, I know I'm going to get back to them later, and I feel safe because of it, because they are foundational to me. And having this daily wake up call every single day is the reason I'm productive for the rest of the day. Stress moments are a lot less stressful. I'm not thinking, oh man, I never got any time to myself, and getting frazzled, because I did get time to myself, and that makes me feel a lot more centered when someone's pulling me in a direction that I may or may not have time to do. I can combat that. I can work through that a lot better because I've had a clarity moment with myself before that. It may seem like this is a lot. This may be extreme. You might want to start with one thing that's different about your morning routine. Choose from all the crazy things I talked about. Maybe there's something else that you like better. Maybe you want to take a walk to a coffee shop every morning. I think that sounds super sexy. I just don't do it. I don't have time for that, and it's not something I prioritize. I've got coffee here. I like being here. I'm going to work out in another way. So, you have to decide what's right for you, but it might just be one change at a time, and that is okay. All of these things have sort of added themselves on. It used to be one journal. It used to be no meditation. It used to be that I would just wake up and start drinking coffee. Just things change. You'll notice I don't read in the morning as much as I should probably read in the morning, because it's the time I've outlined to give myself the most focus time. I have a lot of other things that are more important to me at that point in the day, like knowing what's on my mind, not what's on someone else's mind. So because it's already taking up enough time with my routine at the moment, I don't read in the morning. You can choose what's right for you first thing in the morning, but that's your foundation. So it should be right for you. It should keep you at the level that you need to be the most effective the rest of the day. It's going to make you so much happier over the long term when you do it, because you're going to feel what it's like to have made that time for yourself in everything that you do. It really is so special, and I cannot brag about this enough. I love morning routines. I'm such a nerd for them. I try to ask everybody on this show about theirs, because I think it's so important that everybody has their own perfect routine and that they stick with it so that they can be a success. That's my motivational morning routine. I'd love to hear what yours is. Head over to Instagram or to Twitter at Details Podcast and let me know what yours is like. If you want to screenshot this podcast and like post that you're listening and then post something in your stories about what your favorite part of your routine is, I would love to reshare that. So pop over and share that with me. There were a lot of details in this video, so I'm not going to recap them. You just got to go over to the podcast website. That's at detailspodcast.com. Just look for my motivational morning routines episode and everything will be right there. If you'd like some additional advice straight to your earbuds, I'd love to share my 7 essential details for going after the life you want. You can get this audiogram free and clear by subscribing to the podcast, screenshotting that you are subscribed, and emailing that screenshot to hello@detailspodcast.com. Say audiogram please in the subject line so we can expedite that over to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. If you want to discover more actionable details for going after the life you want, head over to AMYTV by typing in the URL browser youtube.com/AMYTV. And you can also search for Amy Landino in the YouTube app. Subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and remember, go after the life you want. Cheers.